right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling something pretty big. What if, and stick with me here, the secret sauce to like totally rocking your career, nailing those business relationships, and maybe even, finding a partner who truly gets you? What if it all comes down to like really knowing yourself?
Interesting.
I know, right? We've got a whole pile of research articles and even real life stories about how folks are using personality tests and assessments to, to make smarter choices about their careers and love lives.
Yeah, this isn't just about those, those quick quizzes you take online just for fun.
Oh, those are totally addictive, though. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, me too. We're going deeper here, though. We're looking at systems like the RutherfordINTEL.io assessment, the ones that use like data and behavioral science to really paint a more detailed picture of your personality.
Okay, so full disclosure, our sources, they're kind of packed with like stats about career burnout. Toxic workplaces, relationships that just go poof. It feels like everyone's just trying to find that like sense of fulfillment.
It's not just an emotional cost. Like there's a financial toll too, right?
Yeah.
Lost productivity, stress, all that time and money trying to jam a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
And it's often because we're just not clear on what our own shape even is.
So are you saying like those traditional personality tests, the ones that like put you in a quadrant or give you like 5 traits, are you saying those aren't enough? Because I have to admit, I love those little quizzes.
Oh, for sure. They're fun. They can be a good starting point,
Yeah.
But they just don't have the nuance you need for like those really big life decisions.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
It's like trying to navigate, I don't know, like a huge city with just a tourist map. You'll hit a few landmarks, but you're going to miss all the cool hidden gems.
That is a great analogy.
All right.
So that's where like this RutherfordINTEL.io system comes in.
Yeah, exactly. They claim they have a more, how do they put it, a more sophisticated approach, with 12 personality archetypes and 60 subtypes.
12 archetypes, 60 subtypes. Okay, that's a lot.
And what's really interesting is that they say they have an 85% accuracy rate in predicting career success.
Wow.
That's a bold statement.
Makes you wonder what they're looking at that other assessments aren't. Right?
Yeah. One key difference is that they focus on 6 core personality factors. You've got opportunist versus altruist, imaginative versus inventive, results-oriented versus process-oriented, inclusive versus insightful.
Oh my gosh, keep going.
Analytic versus holistic, and responsible versus individualistic.
6 factors, 12 archetypes, 60 subtypes. This sounds so complex.
It is comprehensive, but it's all about getting a more accurate picture of you. And it's not about putting a label on yourself. It's about understanding those natural tendencies you have and how they affect, how you interact at work, your leadership style, even how you approach relationships.
Okay, so how do these 6 factors actually play out, like in real life? For example, if someone's more of an opportunist, does it automatically mean they're like cutthroat in business?
Not at all. It's not about good or bad. It's more about understanding your motivations. An opportunist might be like super driven and really excel in those competitive environments.
Got it.
They might thrive in roles where they can see a clear path to like advancement and recognition,
But they might also need to be careful about not stepping on toes on the way up.
For sure. Finding that balance between ambition and, collaboration.
Right. This is where self-awareness becomes so important, especially at work, I guess. It's like you got to know your strengths and use them, but also be aware of your, what do they call them, blind spots, and learn to manage those too.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is starting to make sense. So like someone who is results-oriented might be awesome at closing deals and hitting targets, but maybe they struggle with the detailed planning and follow-through that a process-oriented person is great at.
Yes, exactly. And knowing this about yourself can help you build better teams, delegate tasks strategically, and even choose career paths that just like naturally align with your strengths.
So what you're saying is self-awareness isn't just about like personal growth. It's a superpower in the professional world.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just your career path, Think about those tough conversations you have at work, negotiations, team dynamics, all that. Understanding how you communicate, how others see you, can make a world of difference.
Man, this is some fascinating stuff. I'm starting to see how all this connects to, like, creating a more fulfilling career.
And we can't forget about relationships. Imagine having a better understanding of what you actually need in a partner, not just based on, superficial stuff, but based on like a deeper understanding of compatibility and how you communicate, how you handle conflict.
Oh, that could save so much heartache. So where do we go from here? How can our listeners start to uncover these, like, hidden layers of themselves?
Well, the RutherfordINTEL.io assessment is one tool that can provide, a more in-depth analysis, but it's really just a starting point. The real journey is taking that information and actually applying it to your life, your career, your relationships.
So it's like you have the map, but you still got to choose your destination and navigate the terrain.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting because once you understand your own like internal compass, you can start making choices that lead to greater fulfillment and success in all areas of your life. Okay, so we've talked about those 6 personality factors, right? But how does this system actually help you make like those big life decisions? Well, it all boils down to 5 kind of critical questions.
5 questions, huh? Okay, I'm intrigued. Hit me with them.
All right, so the first one, it's all about like your worldview. Why do you see the world the way you do? Sounds simple, right?
Yeah, pretty basic.
But it's like incredibly profound. This gets to the core of, are you naturally optimistic or more pessimistic? Do you see challenges as like exciting opportunities or potential roadblocks?
Yeah, I can see how that would totally influence your career choices.
Yes.
Like someone who's naturally optimistic, they might be drawn to, I don't know, startups, entrepreneurship, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
While someone who's like more risk averse,
Yeah.
maybe they'd prefer a stable corporate environment.
Exactly. Understanding your worldview can also help you navigate like all those business relationships you got to deal with. Imagine going into a negotiation with someone who has like a completely opposite outlook. If you can kind of anticipate their perspective, you can, adjust your communication style, your approach, and hopefully make the whole interaction smoother.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, what's the next question on this list?
All right, so the second one, it dives into relationships. It asks, why do you relate predictably with most people? We've all met those people we just like click with instantly.
Yep.
And then there's those who, I don't know, they just rub us the wrong way no matter what we do.
Oh, tell me about it. I've definitely had my fair share of, like, workplace clashes just because of personality differences.
Totally. And it's not about judging, right? It's about understanding. This question really digs into your communication style, your emotional intelligence, and how you, navigate those tricky social situations. The assessment, it helps pinpoint those personality types you naturally gravitate towards and those that might need a little more effort to build rapport with.
So if you're putting together a team or even choosing a business partner, this could be super valuable information, right?
Oh, absolutely. It can also help you understand why some relationships just, I don't know, they never seem to work out, even if you really want them to.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. These questions, they're not about putting you in a box, are they? They're more about giving you a framework for understanding yourself and the people around you.
You got it. Now, the third question, it asks, why do you embrace the life values you live by? It's about getting to the heart of what really motivates you. Are you driven by achievement, recognition? Or do you prioritize collaboration, making a difference? Do you crave security and stability? Or are you more about adventure and new experiences?
That's a good one. I guess this ties back to finding a career that really aligns with your values, but it feels like it goes even deeper than that.
It does. It helps you uncover those driving forces behind all your decisions, the ones you make both personally and professionally. It's about making choices that are truly in sync with your authentic self, whether it's choosing a job, starting a business, or even committing to that long-term relationship.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if someone's core values are all about, like, creativity and freedom, they're probably not going to be happy in a super rigid corporate environment, no matter how much money they're making.
Exactly. And those values, they play a huge role in relationships too, If your partner's all about adventure and spontaneity, but you crave stability and routine, you're bound to bump heads down the road.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to dating.
It's not about finding someone who's exactly like you, right? It's about understanding which values are like non-negotiable for you and then finding someone who complements those values and respects them.
Right, right. Okay, what about question number 4? This one seems particularly relevant to our listeners who are, really focused on crushing it in their careers. It asks, Why, out of more than 2,500 possibilities, can only a small percentage of specific careers offer you maximum motivation and financial success? Whoa, that's a mouthful.
It is. But it really highlights that finding a fulfilling career isn't just about picking something you kind of enjoy or that pays well. It's about hitting that sweet spot where your natural talents, those things you're passionate about, and what the market actually needs, all come together.
So it's like finding that Venn diagram overlap where you're good at something, you love doing it, and someone's actually willing to pay you for it.
Exactly. And this is where the RutherfordINTEL.io assessment really shines. It takes your unique personality profile, right, and matches it to specific jobs and roles, highlighting those careers where you're most likely to, thrive, not just survive.
It's like having a personalized career coach right in your pocket. Okay, last question. What's number 5 all about?
All right, so this final question, it digs into those deeper kind of psychological aspects of your personality. It asks, why do you have specific psychological qualities? This explores your emotional tendencies, how you deal with stress, your thought patterns, even your potential vulnerabilities.
Wow. So it's kind of like shining a light on all those subconscious patterns that are driving our behavior.
Uh-huh.
I can see how that could be helpful, but it also seems a little, I don't know, intimidating.
It can be, for sure. But it's also incredibly empowering. Once you understand your triggers, your strengths, and your weaknesses, you can develop coping mechanisms, build resilience, and even, work on those areas where you might be holding yourself back.
Yeah, I'm thinking about those people who are like constantly stressed out or those who struggle with like imposter syndrome.
Mm,
This kind of self-awareness could be a game changer for them, both professionally and personally.
absolutely. It's all about understanding your emotional landscape and learning to navigate it effectively, whether you're dealing with a high-pressure job, a tough relationship, or even just, the everyday stresses of life.
Okay, so we've explored these 5 pretty intense questions, and honestly, my mind is blown. It's like we've peeled back all these layers and uncovered like a whole new level of, well, of just understanding ourselves.
And it's not just about understanding, right? It's about taking action. Like the RutherfordINTEL.io assessment, it gives you a pretty detailed report. It outlines your primary personality type, your strengths and challenges, even gives you a list of compatible careers and potential relationship dynamics.
So it's not just like a theoretical thing. It actually gives you practical tools to use in your life.
Exactly. It's all about like empowering you to make those choices that actually align with, well, with your true self.
Yeah.
Imagine picking a career path where you're not just, competent, but where you're actually engaged and passionate about the work you're doing.
Right. And imagine finding a partner who not only like complements your personality, but also shares those core values and, has a similar communication style.
Yeah.
That sounds like a recipe for a truly awesome relationship.
It really is. And while the assessment gives you like a framework, the real magic happens when you start to, really internalize those insights and use them to make conscious decisions.
So it's not about letting the assessment like run your life right. It's more about using it as a guide, like a compass, to point you towards greater self-awareness and, ultimately fulfillment.
Exactly. And what's really cool about this approach is that it's data-driven. It's not based on some, I don't know, like vague interpretation of your personality. It's actually grounded in, scientific research and statistical analysis.
Yeah, that's a big deal for me. There's just like so many personality tests and, self-help gurus out there. It's tough to know what to trust. But this system, it seems like it has a really solid foundation in behavioral science.
It does. And the testimonials we've seen, they're pretty compelling. People from all walks of life are using this assessment to make some major life changes, like switching careers, improving their communication skills, even finding more compatible partners.
Wow. It's amazing to think that, just understanding your personality type can have such a big impact on your life.
It can. And it's not just about individual success, right? Think about like the ripple effect this kind of self-awareness can have on teams, organizations, maybe even society as a whole.
I love that. Imagine if more people really understood themselves and each other better. How much more effectively could we, collaborate, innovate, build stronger relationships?
It's an exciting possibility, for sure. And it all starts with taking that first step towards, self-discovery.
So for our listeners who are like ready to jump in, Where do you suggest they start?
Well, the RutherfordINTEL.io website is a great place. They've got tons of information about the assessment, the 12 personality archetypes, and, those 6 factors we've been talking about.
And they offer the assessment online, right?
They do. It's definitely an investment, in yourself, in your future happiness and success. And it's not like a one-time thing. Self-awareness, it's an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
As you evolve and grow, your personality will keep unfolding and revealing new parts of yourself.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and, keep embracing the amazing complexity of just being you.
And with that, we'll leave you with one final kind of thought-provoking question. If you could unlock your full potential, both in your career and your relationships, what would that look like? What would that feel like?
That's a question worth thinking about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of self-awareness. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep being your awesome selves.